Welcome, Doris Pond. How's everybody? Little Saturday morning mushroom hunt. So let's see what we can see, what we can find, what's new, and if there's anything here we can talk about today. We're in Manchester, New Hampshire, where we're hanging out at Livingston Park. They call this Doris Pond, obviously, if you were looking at the sign here. But there's some bullfrogs doing their thing. A little bit of water in the spillway here. And we're ready to go do some mushroom hunting. So, if you want to take a walk, we've got a mile walk here or so to go through. And we'll see what we find in the local park. And one of the reasons I come here is because it is a local park. Easy to get to, but you'd be surprised what's lurking under your feet. Not just mushrooms, but just odd things and wonders of nature. So we'll take a look. People have been coming here for a long time. We've actually been coming here since 1986, documenting all the different fungus and cycles of life that we see. But I don't know. Let's see what we can find. You never know. You never know what's out there. But here it is. Oh, look at that. Right on the path here, a rusula, and you can see how much these russulas get broken apart. They're called the brittle gill. Some people call them the chalk stem because they do break apart. But that's all about how the cells are aligned in this particular group. So very recognizable, and we find that a lot of times with the squirrels. We'll set them out. I'm not sure if they're actually drying them or just kind of throwing them. I don't know. But we'll take a little detour over here off of the path because I thought that we had run into a resinous polypore at one time. And if we can find out where it is, I'd like to see if that was... What do we got over here? Another rustle. Look how it's upside down. Like, you know, the squirrel's doing that. Find it a lot. Well, let's see what this one is. Let me turn it over. Oh, look at that. This one looks a lot like the shellfish rustler. And it's not. But they come in a lot of different colors. So, but you can see why they call them the brittle gill. And the one that's a more desirable edible is the one that the gills don't break off of. So even though it's in the russula group, there's one that the gills don't break off quite as easy, and it's called the charcoal burner for some reason. I'm still not quite sure why that is. But anyhow, let's take a little walk through the woods of New Hampshire here. Manchester, New Hampshire, you guys. So here we are, doing a little beyond fungi, roaming with Roscoe, and let's just see what we can find. There's no guarantees. A couple of rustlers, so that's a good sign. We'll see what our day has to hold here. But I'm gonna go down in this section here, just because it's a little more lush, and we have possibility of having a little more moisture down this way. But you never know. You never know what pops up just when you think there's nothing out there. Boom. Crows are going at it. And let's just see. I know right around here we had found a rather large log with oyster mushrooms on it, but I had really thought that resinous polypore was coming out, and we don't find that often. So take a look. I don't know what it is. It's still there, but look at that. don't actually know what this is. But hasn't changed much. Hasn't changed much. So, well, we'll come back here at a later date, and we'll see what that has to tell us at that point. But here we go. We've got always a great spot to check out for fungus on the birch tree, and horsehoof fungus. So you might find horsehoof fungus quite a bit. And there we go. But this one is actually called the tinder fungus, and it was found on the Iceman. I mention it quite often because the Iceman had two different types of fungus. But look at this. We think we got a slime mold here. It sure looks like it, doesn't it? But this one's a little bit old, and you know, it does have this horsehoof fungus here, the Fometopsis. And like we mentioned, a lot of times if it says Fome in the name, it's because it's a tinder fungus. But let's just take a walk through the understory here, because you just never know what'll show up. But we're gonna go back out on a regular path, and we'll do a little walk around the park like everybody else is, and we'll see what the common man has to actually see out here in the park. So appreciate you guys showing up, hanging out, and taking a little walk. It's still early morning here, so it's got a really nice feel. But we're walking a little bit along here, only because we're looking for some of the moisture. I know we've had a lot of rain and all that. Some of the places we've been actually been dry. So besides running into russelas, we have been seeing quite a few Amanita. Some slime mold. Been running into a lot of slime mold this year. We got yellow and the red. Skunk cabbage is still skunking. But I almost half expected to see something jumping out at us here. But don't fret. We'll find something fun here. But here we are, Livingston Park, and a walk that I've made too many times to count. I used to come here almost on a daily basis, but now we do probably once a week. And look at this. That's the same one. That's the same, I don't know where it came from. But that's just like we were looking at, the horsehoof fungus. That's what it'll look like when when it starts growing. So that can be another thing with our mushroom hunting, is you never know. I mean, sometimes things look different day to day. And that's why we come out and take a look at stuff. Stay curious. Look at that. The mushroom of the year. The bladderful. That is probably one of the smallest bladderfuls that we've found. Called the mega colibia, but not so mega in that case, is it? Alright, let's go. Let's go. Basically starting our walk right here. And let's see what we see. Anyway, let's get acquainted with our host here. My name's Ross, and this is Roman with Roscoe when we take a walk through the park and we find stuff. And the last time we were here, we actually found a couple of four-leaf clovers right in this section right here. But this is all redone, all new, so a little different for us here too. But let's get down the line. We'll get around the corner, and we'll let you know how far in we are of our hike. But we have a varied amount of woods here, and hopefully some diverse fungus. So anyway, thanks for coming along on Beyond Fungi, where we're going to find stuff and stay curious. Come along, guys, come along. Here we go. So that was a pretty big pine tree, wasn't it? Oh, mackerel. But into the semi-dark woods here. We've been finding a couple different chanterelles lately. A couple of Amanitas. A couple boletes too. Actually, on our hike last week, we actually found 2 different boletes that I'm not really acquainted with. So, kind of cool. If you know your boletes, well, they can be tricky. There's a lot of them out there. And they don't come around all that often, so we're always interested when we can come up with one. But, hi, how are you? Great. But, yeah, we've done this hike many times. And there's always been a lot of stuff out here. And we'll go a little bit deeper here in coming days. But we always find something, you know, and this one here is kind of odd because it's grown right off of a stump here, and it's looking a little bit more like a plutus. You can't really tell if it has the pink spores, but you know, you can tell the difference between the pink and the white spores. Definitely, that one's just a little too old, and again, something like that, do you really need to know? You know, I mean, it's cool to find stuff. Oh man, I can't believe we actually just walked right past the ghost pipe, you guys. I was gonna show you the ghost pipes, and we'll run across them very often. Look at this. What is this? I have no idea. Is it already too late, or is it too cool to be? What is that? What is this right here? Well, let's take a look, because it's a little different, whatever it is. Oh, look at that. Well, I'm gonna have to probably take one of those. Isn't that awesome? I don't know. Well, I did bring some containers and some wax paper bags, so we'll put this into one of our little containers, and so we can do something with it later. Oh, what do we got there? Oh, orange peel. That happens a lot. I talk about that quite a bit. Unnatural color to see in the woods, but there it is. An orange peel. We fall for that one quite often. All right, so here we go. I'm putting it on my neck brace here, and we'll see how this goes. So happy to see you guys. Always nice to do a little fungus recon, and we're hoping up around the corner here we actually get a chance to talk about some, or we're gonna end up having to do another hunt today. We want to make it fun for you guys, so always trying. But here on Beyond Fungi, we could talk about anything. Squirrel. Sometimes we talk about squirrels, because over at our other walk, we've got some red squirrels that get a little territorial. But I really expected that we would be running across a few things here by now. And the whole idea was that I was going to show you how your basic walk can turn into a really cool thing, and you know, you could be taking pictures for iNaturalist. Then you know where your pictures are. So I got a hard time. I got a lot of pictures. I got a really hard time finding them. There's another misnomer over there, huh? Got a bobber in the woods. But what do we got here? Let's take a look. Yeah, a whole bunch of little things right here. Let's take a quick look at this one. We found something very similar to that the other day. It was a Coleopsis. It was a little tiny thing, but it was Yeah, Coleopsis, I don't know. I don't know. These little ones are kind of tough to deal with, but since we're trying to do some microscopy stuff, we'll take it home and see if it's any different than the ones that we're finding in our yard, which were also in a spillway. And there we go. All right, let's move along here. There's something right here which could either be an acorn or look at that. That's a little rustler. So just coming on up, and look over here. Oh, I'm just a lonely flower. You see how they they stain black. They'll actually, if you make a tincture out of it, they'll actually turn purple. But they do stain black, and they taste a little bit like I think they taste like a bitter pea. I mean, they really do have a bitter quality to them, you know. And I'm not a big fan of bitterness, but they are a clandestine medicine as well. So if you end up seeing them, hi, how are you? Great. If you end up seeing them, you can do your research on that. We've got something kind of cute right here. Look at that. Maybe some sort of fiber head. But, you know, like I say, if you're into mycology, you can specialize. You can specialize in Russell, Amanita, or you can be like me and just be curious and find anything and everything, you know. Here's a Amanita in the Flaviconia. There it is, you know, flav meaning in yellow. You can see some of the remnants from the veil right here. Let's see if we can't take a look at the gill attachment here, because that's one of our key features. And of course, spore print. But this one's pretty neat. That one's got some neat stuff other than the color, and in the Amanita genus. So we'll probably see a bunch of those. We've been finding the Flaviconia all over the place. Here's a waxy cap. I mean a milky cap, you guys. And we're gonna find a bunch of these. But let's take a look at this one, and we'll talk why it's a milky cap. And not quite sure what this one may be. We're always looking for the corgus, but let's take a look here. First, we'll take a look at the orientation. Slightly decurrent gills there. You know, a little bit of staining, but not much. Hollow stipe. And let's damage it and see if we can get anything coming out of it. Because the whole nature of these lactarius is that when they're damaged, they exude a milky substance, but they've got to be at a certain age for that to happen. But yeah, this one's bruising a little bit. Let's take a smell. I think a lot of times I feel like the lactarius almost smell like almost like a crayon. I don't know, they got this strange smell to them, but we'll try to find one that we'll tell you why it's a lactarius, because if you haven't seen them, they bleed milk, and it's always pretty neat to take a look at, and a strange natural response that the mushroom has developed. It's innate property. So anyways, let's go see. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We find the strangest things when we're, you know, it's not really even that funny to joke about, but we do find some strange things. And a couple weeks ago, when we found some shoes just set out in the woods, it was kind of eerie. But you know what's odd here is that these are actually probably coming up as chanterelles, but I don't know. Hear that? They go deep. That goes right in there, and so we've actually had some types of some types of shelf fungus that have been in here. So we'll see what that turns out to be. But it looks like it could have been the start of a chanterelle. But this is more like how you're going to find these guys. And the reason we talk about these, it's the Latin name is uniflora, Monotropa uniflora, which means one color, one flower, because it is one flower. It is a flower. But the point is with these, while we talk about them a lot on Beyond Fungi, is what they're doing is they're finding a position between this tree and the Russula species we've been finding, and there's still nutrients between them because there's a symbiotic relationship here with the Russula and the tree. So there they go. Get right in between there, and you know, life's good. Don't need chlorophyll. Yeah, what's all the big deal about the chlorophyll? Just get in between there. There's a couple different ones that we find, and look at this. We got a whole section of these guys coming up, and another one of these yellow Amanitas. Not the greatest example. We'll see if we can find. Yeah, not really, but again, a little different than the other one. Look at that. So, but still having the yellow, and having the yellow veil. You can see the remnants here, the warding. Kind of a strange situation here, though, because of how they're actually coming up in this one area. But look at that. Whatever it is, they're pretty happy with. You know, this is the right conditions. But look at this one. Because when they're coming out of this. When they're coming out of this universal egg, that's what's left of the veil here. So might look like warts or something, but it's actually leftover veil. So pretty neat. We love these. We love the look of them, the Amanitas, though. And you know, you guys should know them and stay away from them. yeah. But pretty cool. And that one has little yellow flecks all over it, so really pretty neat. Let's see what else we can find out here. Hi, good morning. How are you? Never know. But like we were just talking, you know, sometimes I find some geocache stuff out here, you know, where we find people's clothings or leftover party, you know. I don't like to mention it too much, but I do. About found a dead guy once. That's no fun. Once that happens, hi, good morning. It kind of ruins your hike. So, but anyhow, you just never know. You never know, you guys. We're going out looking for mushrooms, and you know, sometimes we just find the strangest things. I mean, even though we've been doing this all the time, almost like every day, most of my life. We still find stuff that's out there, you know. That's just the craziest thing. So we did find some rustlers. I'm hoping we'll find a couple more quality rustlers here that we can take a look at. We're coming up to some turkey tail. So, like I always mention with you guys, if you want to get into mycology, well, let's do it this weekend and go out and find some turkey tail. Right? What's going to happen? You know, what's going to happen if you find the wrong thing? No, doesn't matter. You won't. Come on over. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look at some turkey tail. And yeah. I'm actually hoping to encounter some sort of cryptid, but I don't believe we have dragons in New Hampshire. There are legends of sea creatures. Shouldn't say sea creatures. I mean, got to be lake creatures if they're around here. But there are legends of lake creatures. Look at the beautiful color here, guys. This is another one. And you know, they're in the Flaviconia group. They're actually probably a slightly different one than what we were seeing. But these ones are more conic. So I'd be more willing to say that you know, these are more of a Flaviconia type of thing, meaning flav meaning yellow, and conia meaning cone shaped. And of course, Amanita being the group where they come out of an egg. And so that's why some people tell you about puffballs, because collecting puffballs, there's a chance you could collect an Amanita egg, and there are some Amanitas where you don't want to tangle with them. You know, that's why we say stay away from Amanitas. Just as a general rule, stay away from Amanitas, and you'll be fine. You know, anything that's white. Let's take a look here, because we do have some fake turkey tail. Oh, look at this one. See how this see how that ghost pipe is almost changing color? It's almost got a purple hue to it. But look at this, you guys. There it is. There it is. This is how your mycology career is going to start. Turkey tail. Look at that. And, I mean, that one's good enough to take home. It's a little bit older. I mean, you don't want it really yellow at the bottom, but the difference between this one and the other one is that it's going to be white at the bottom. And, you know, if you bite into it, it's going to be really tough, you know, and really bitter. But see the difference between what we got right here and what we got right over there. We'll take one of these off, and we'll just make a direct comparison, because you guys are like, oh, I'm not confident about my my turkey tail abilities. Well, look at the difference here. So there it is. I always find that the false ones are much thinner. They're browner, kind of tan on the bottom. They're less prone to have like the polypore look. But look at the different colorations, and that's why this one is called Versicolor, the Tremedius Versicolor, because we find this one in every color. But look how cool that is, and see how it's more fuzzy. And these ones usually have some sort of like a almost a turquoise. But once you see them, put your hands on it, take a look. It's like anything else. It's like I tell people, you know, if you've never been to a grocery store, never handled a type of fruit of some sort, you know, once you know what a banana is, I mean, you know what a banana is. But we also have something over here on the same thing. This is not turkey tail, so this is probably where you could go wrong with turkey tail. But let's take a look at it, because these are violet polypores, and they have a little bit of violet. And well, let's do this. That's going to be one of the determining factors, is they are going to have some purple in it. And you can kind of tell, like, we'll take a look at these right here in the sunlight. That's the violet tooth polypore. There is the false turkey tail. And then that one is the real turkey tail. So you can go out and do that. And we also have another contestant here. Right over on this log over here, we have the Herstium, the hairy bracket. So we've got a couple different brackets here. But even though this one has a little bit of violet underneath it, let's put our light to it and see what we can see. Because they do shine violet. But this one, you know, I know it looks a lot like turkey tail, but the difference is when you're out in the field. Like I said, go to the grocery store and start handling fruits and vegetables. You know, soon enough you're gonna know okra is not a cucumber. You know, I can see where the confusion is, but anyway, mushroom hunts are about instilling confidence. So we'll see what we can do. And same thing for me, right? Just because I say it doesn't mean I'm correct about it. I've had a couple of times where I've misspoken just because it happens, you know. And sometimes we wonder. Sometimes we wonder what we found. I mean, last week was a perfect example. Our friend over at Forage in Kentucky was nice enough to help us with an ID. And I still wasn't too sure about it, but I mean, it's kind of what I suspected. I just I want some, you know, I don't know everything. So, and I haven't found everything either, you guys. That's the fun thing about mycology, is if you start today, well, you're going to be hunting mushrooms for a lifetime, because it doesn't end. We find stuff every day. And not only just stuff, but things that have to do with mushrooms. The whole relationship, all the woods, the plants. the bugs, the squirrels, leaving us a little bit of rustlers on our path. But there we go. We talked about a couple different things, and also a parasitic plant. Parasitic plant that you know, does really well. Does very well. And my mouth is a little dried out from that one. Oh, look at this cute thing. Look at that. So it'll give us a chance to talk about some of the morphology here, because this one has a umbate cap. It's got like almost a little nipple in the middle here, and very delicate stem here with some close gills, because the gills attachment, and different aspects of morphology there. It's what we're looking for to identify stuff. So I wouldn't even know, where that one fits. There's a whole bunch of small ones, and the thing is with mycology is that the terminology changes along with the technology. So the more we find out, the more we realize that just because they look the same, they're not even in the same, they're not even the same genus. And so we talk about that quite a bit with the amount of genetic material that you guys are going to encounter in mushrooms, because they can morph themselves into anything in their environment. So they've been adaptable for billions of years. I'm gonna stop now. The genome is crazy. A little mushroom like that, called the fairy bonnet, has 45 million ways to procreate. And we talk about it also with mushrooms, is that we're used to having male and female, right? We have two sexes. Most mushrooms actually have four sexes. And with the split gill, the crazy gill, which we're hoping to do a video on soon, right? Crazy mushroom orgy. But let's see, we're coming up to about halfway on our mark here, Livingston Park. Glad you guys could come along for a little walk while we're spending a Saturday morning trying to find mushrooms. We've had a little bit of luck here, but we'll see what our future holds. You just never know what's up around the next corner. That half-mile mark right there. So try to pick up the pace and move it along here, find something fun for our YouTube friends. And if you don't know me over at TikTok, I'm over there. It's good size though, isn't it? Like, I just had one the other day where, the thing was a monster. But we've been talking about that because it happens to be the mushroom of 2025. I mean, I have never found so many. And we usually find a lot, but I have never found so many of those as I have this year. And they seem to be everywhere. And, slightly unappealing. Hi. But if you were to grab one and give it a sniff or maybe a bite, it may be reminiscent of raw potatoes. So a lot of these things have distinctive smells or tastes, but sometimes you can't distinguish what that particular smell or taste would be. You know what it is. I mean, it's on the tip of your tongue. And then like the Lactarius and the Russell one that we found yesterday, and they'll give you almost a chemical burn if you bite into them. So that's how you know not to eat them. Yeah, easy enough. Here we go. Little stream where we look for fairies and dragons. So yeah. Yes, we have had black trumpets. I did a video of them 2 days ago. But they're just popping out, so we're expecting to bump into them in a lot of places. I mean, once they're out, we seem like we run into black trumpets a lot in the oak woods. But we'll be doing a little thing, and I'll collect as many as I can because I am a licensed forager where I can sell them. But if somebody wants them, I will definitely give them out. But look at this. So cool. I mean, those orange ones we've been finding today are, I mean, those are just so cool, isn't it? Amanita. Take a look. Those Amanitas, they come out of an egg. Usually have a vulva. Oh, look at that. It's got a little friend right here. But you see this, you see that yellow? Pretty sure that's what puts them all into this Flavoconia one. But a yellow group of mushrooms, and the muscaria is not in that one. Muscaria is actually named for a chemical, muscarine. Yeah, it's actually in the Amanita. Oh, look at that! We got a bolete down here. We'll take a look. See if we can't take a look. We haven't run into any boletes, so we'll definitely see what the deal is. But like I said last week, we ran into this bluing bolete that I was pretty sure was a gyroporus, but of course I didn't do my due diligence. And let's see what this guy has to offer. Let's just see. We're gonna just take a part of this one today, because we want to see about. Well, it's got plenty of bugs. It's got some yellowing right there as far as the bruising goes. We'll wait to see if it bruises anymore, but white under here. And you can see, if you're not familiar with boletes, we'll see if we can't get you in here somewhere. But there's all these pores, and they're lined almost, almost like fur. But they're all tubes, and that's what makes us a bolete. And white, when you're doing the boletes, you could do, say, white on bottom, tan on top. It's been already bugs, but this one could be in the Tylopilus one that we've been finding. A lot of these where Tylopilus actually means wrinkled cap, more or less. And the Phellus that we've been finding means bitter. So, I was writing lately, but there's bolete, and because it's growing directly on wood, I'm gonna say it's a Tylopilus, and and because it is bitter as all get out times out in the woods. Yeah, I can't say we didn't fall for that one before, but it looked a little bit different than looked a little bit different. It could be. I mean, some of these things are really bitter. Oh, cow. Yeah, that one, I got rid of that one fast enough. There's another rubescens down there. Amanita rubescens. Hopefully we'll run into those along the path here. I really do like the Amanitas. I mean, they're a lot of fun to take pictures of and talk about, but we did find the black standing bolete last weekend. We found the blue standing bolete last weekend, and just because boletes stain blue doesn't mean anything, That particular one, the gyroporus cyanescens, which means turning blue, oddly enough, is a choice edible. It's actually going to be coming up on my next mushroom certification. So, there's no real good way that you can tell, if a mushroom's edible or not. So, whatever you're thinking, it's not that. It's not that. Just, if you know, you know. But if you don't mess around. You give everybody a bad name. There's old mushroom hunters and there's bold mushroom hunters, but there's not many old bold mushroom hunters, is what they tell me in my field guide. I don't know. I mean, just stay curious, right? But don't make a meal out of something you don't know. I've known people to do that, and live to tell it, no problem. I mean, that's the whole thing. People get mushroom phobia. It's pretty tough to get mushroom poisoning, because you got to get the wrong one. Then you got to eat a lot of it. And in our field guides, when they talk about being poisonous, not toxic, but if they're poisonous, that just means that, oh, I'm sorry. That just means that there's a chance that 5% of the population will get a stomach ache. Here we go. We get some more of these, what are they? Yeah, false turkey tails, you guys. So, they're the false ones. And hopefully, see how thin that is? And they're not really velvety either. They are a little, but slime mold, yeah, run into a lot of that. But yeah, when we're talking about poisonous mushrooms, we're just talking about people getting a stomach ache. And it's really a small segment, you know? I mean, it's like literally, I think the threshold is 5%. I'll take a look in here. We had some Amanita muscaria here last week, just randomly growing out in here. I'll take a look, because, you know, nature's doing its job out here, breaking stuff down. Look at that. Yeah. But that's, you know, the false turkey tails are dry too. So, you know, if you're in a spot where you see some false turkey tails and they're dried up, well, you know, they're false turkey tails. Look at this over here, you guys. Oh, wow, look at this one. Candelina. Sarsaparilla Candelina. Look at this one. Oh, Candanella. But anyway, look at this. And Sarsaparilla means that it has a straw-like stem. And a lot of times the Sarsaparilla will break right off, but pretty sure that's what we're looking at right here, and really pretty cool. They got this this margin that starts falling apart, but a little unexpected and very cool. You never know. You never know, you guys. But what brought us over here was I still saw one of these pheasantback mushroom over here on this log. So obviously way past due, but this was a great picture on this one when they were all here. There it is, pheasantback. And you know, the Latin indicates pheasantback. I mean, and really the Latin means pheasant with small scales on it. So, but this one's pretty neat. That one's pretty neat. I typically don't find this in the woods, so it does make me wonder, you know, exactly what it is. But I do believe that that's what we're taking a look at. And look at the gills, and let's take a look at how they're attached, because they're attached in a certain way that makes it identifies it. And it's really strange how fungus does that. The morphology of fungus, they basically come up the same most of the time, but don't count on it. But the whole thing is the colors that they present and the way that they find the host species and all that. It's crazy. So anyhow, pretty cool. And something I usually find in the bark mulch. So, but gives us a chance to talk about the Sarsaparilla, which, you know, starts with a PS, and it means straw-like. So pretty neat. Something I wouldn't have expected to find, but you never know. That's happened to a lot of times on our walk, where we get a little detour, and next thing you know, we're finding something that we didn't expect. So you never know. Like I say, mushroom hunting's a little bit of metaphor for life. You know, we get to find stuff and do stuff, but opportunity comes around once in a lifetime sometimes. I mean, it doesn't always happen. You know, some of these mushrooms might come out one time, you know, middle of the night on a work day. But yeah, when you see that stuff, a lot of people have been, how come I got that stuff in my bark mulch? Slime mold. Yep. But anyway, we got a lot of big pines here in this park, a lot of old pines, and so what happens is that these mushrooms are symbiotic. They depend on the trees to live. The trees depend on them. Wow, is that, no, look at that. I thought that was a mushroom. Oh man, had me excited there for a minute. It would have been the biggest one of the day. Well, another metaphor for life, right? Just when you think you scored big. Well. But anyways, sometimes we do. But the whole thing is 3/4. All right, you guys, 3/4 of the way. And let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got here, because it could be pretty cool things up ahead. Already a couple of unexpected finds here. I thought we would find a little bit more in the Amanita Russula variety, but I guess that means the next time. We found some ghost plants. Talked about turkey tails. A couple different ones we had over there, but that bolete, you know, if you guys like bitter stuff, I mean, go right ahead. I mean, supposedly it's edible. People actually grind it up and use it for bitters in their recipes. So I brought one home just in case. I mean, it was just so bitter. It's like, yeah, I'll pull that out at a party. Yeah. What do we got here? Oh, pretty cool. Look at this. Another fruiting of the pinewood gingertail. Yeah, Zarampolina campanella. Yeah, didn't you go to school with her? But look at that. Look at that. Cool. And another fruiting. Pretty neat. Because these things can be prolific. They can be everywhere. But they call them pinewood gingertail. And nice to see that. Glad to have run into that today. Here's some mycelial growth doing some pretty good work for us right there. What do we got here? Well, this one, I don't know. We're gonna take a piece of it with us, but it almost looks like a bleached out train wrecker. But I don't know. I'm thinking it's more. I'm thinking it might be Pleurotus levis. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that, huh? And so it's got some real yellowing there. There was another one involved right here that's gone. But yeah, in the oyster mushroom family, I believe. But the way that it's yellowing right there, we could be talking neolentinus, like in the train wrecker area. You know, we see that, but look at that. Look at that. We got some real yellowing there. I mean, that's something else. But we do have a little bit of scaling on the top. We got something coming out right there, huh? And we mentioned a lot of times that, you know, all fungus are, all mushrooms are fungus, but not all fungus are mushrooms. And so a lot of times we're not going to, you know, we'll see the fuzzy stuff. And talking about fuzzy stuff, I'm going to be doing a little video on this right here. And you guys know what that is, right? No, we don't. That's not what I was thinking. We're going to talk about Blake's eye. But look at this. Here's a rustler. But we're going to talk about, like, on the dog poop around here, there's a mold called Blake's eye, and it's a funny story. So we'll do that. But look at this. There you go. We were talking about how we could figure out what a rustler is. And there it is. I mean, you know, you can find a rustler in this shape. Maybe you want to know. I don't. I never find rustlers, that even the ones that I'm able to forage, the green quilted one, I never find them in a good enough shape where we're going to be eating them. Look at that. Another in the rubescens family here. So you kind of see that when it's damaged, we get some reddening here, and reddening right here. So I don't know what brought that thing into the woods there, but there it is. But yeah, we were talking about the Blake's eye, you know, because when you find stuff all moldy in your yard and stuff, you're like, oh, that's gross. But it's a mode of transmission for a type of fungus that is named after a mycologist. The funny part of the story is that the guy thought that he was being funny and named it after his friend. And well, we remember his friend, even though we remember Blake, but we don't remember his contemporary who thought he was being funny. Another lesson for life. But anyhow, let's take a look around. We're kind of sticking to the path today, just to kind of show you that if you were out today walking around and you decide to do a little mushroom hunting, it's not far-fetched. you know. And we're just glossing over it. We're not really getting deep into here. But we ran into Lactarius russula, which happened to be in the same general genre of Russulaceae. And we ran into Amanitas, ran into a couple different types of bracket fungus, Termites and Sterium. This last one here, I don't know. I believe it was Pleurotus in the oyster family, but one of the ones that doesn't attach to the stem in a pleuroid way. Another Russula. Let's take a look at this one, because a lot of times when you find them this color, yeah, see that? Wow. Yeah, they have a bleach smell to them. Not only bleach, but a lot of times they have maraschino cherries mixed in. So that's in the Pecnoides group, I believe. And there's a bunch, like when we say in the Russula groups, crazy. What do you think that is? Puffball. Pigskin puffball. That's what I mean, though. You're just walking through the woods, your yard, or whatever, you'll find something. But with this puffball, even though it's like that, you don't want to eat it. But puffballs, when they're white on the inside, can be inedible. So we'll see. How are you? Great. But yeah, here's another. This one's a Russell over here, more in the orange variety. But yeah, with the puffballs here, you don't want to even consider pigskin puffball, even if it is white on the inside. It's got a pretty aromatic odor. It's going to stick with me for a while, I believe. But a lot of times, if you cut these open, they'll be purple. And anything that's not pristine white on the inside and has no dots on the outside, well, that's what you're looking for. So, but there's a lot of puffballs. There's a lot more puffballs than I've given credit to. So, pretty neat. We're going to run into those quite often. I'll have a video on those on my TikTok soon enough. But if you guys are out there finding mushrooms and not sure what it is, or just think it's the coolest thing in the world, you can take a picture, a video, or whatever, and tag me on TikTok, and we'll repost it. Try to have some people recognize some of your photographic talents, and you never know. You find the strangest things. I mean, you guys seen some of the stinkhorns? A lot of stuff, like even the coral fungus that we've been finding lately. I mean, a lot of stuff reminds me of sea life. Even if you know lion's mane, looks like some sort of coral. But we find it all the time. But we have a lot of friends on TikTok that will go out and find stuff and tag us. So I'd be always interested in seeing that, and it's a great spot for you to catch up with me. I find it's a lot easier to talk to people on TikTok, so I apologize if this is a little more impersonal, but we try to stay curious and find stuff. So there we go. Yeah. Oh, Nick says chanterelles are popping. Yeah, we're popping too, but not like, I don't get like these huge flushes where the woods turn apricot. That color is very distinctive, and you can see it from a mile away. It was like the joke where the guy just about wrecked his car because he saw a McDonald's wrapper on someone's lawn. Thought it was a huge chanterelle. But yeah, if you're a mushroom hunter, that's a bad habit to get into. Hunting mushrooms from your car. Yeah, I would say don't do it. But anyhow, here we are. We're coming up on our mile hike. It might not have been like the most extraordinary mushrooming to be found, but we ran into a bunch of things, and we got a chance to talk about a couple other things, and we get acquainted with how Roman with Roscoe goes on the live format here. So I always appreciate all of our friends showing up, whether it's here, TikTok, or Instagram. I can't thank you enough for making my walk just a little bit easier and making it look like I'm not just talking to my phone, which I guess it still does look like that, but we're about ready to get on with our day, and that's not to say we're not going to find more mushrooms. It's just we just have to get ourselves going. But here we go, the Livingston Park Trail, and there it is, guys. Appreciate you showing up for our last hour. We're going to close it off by coming over this way, coming over here, talking a little bit about our beautiful park and the wonders of nature that bring us out here. Like I said, I've been coming here for a really long time, and I've always had great luck with the walk. And it's right in the middle of Manchester. Well, not quite the middle of Manchester, north side. But there we go. Yeah, I've actually tried puffballs. I don't know if I would say I love them, but I'm willing to try them. Yeah, there's a lot of meat there when we find puffballs, and especially the gem-studded puffballs. That can be amazing. Yeah, yep. I know, right? But appreciate you guys showing up, and I'll have to check the comments. I'm sorry that I've been trying to find mushrooms here. But yeah, nice to see you, Paul. Thanks for coming in. And Gnome, Musical Nomi. Yeah, nice to see you. I see you're in here. Great to have you along with our walk here. We're finding stuff, staying curious, and setting an example for just getting out into the environment and acknowledging those type of things. So yeah, I did. I brought some gum because we've been biting in this stuff. Yeah, we've been biting in this stuff, and wow, some of this stuff you'd be surprised, you guys. You'd be surprised what kind of a punch these mushrooms have. Only being bitter, slightly caustic, but also just overpowering. Like, I got one in my pack right now. It's just overpowering garlic. You know what I mean? And I got one in my lab from last year, from this path directly right here, that smells like maple. And when you walk in, you're like, oh man, who's got the maple? And it's a little tiny thing, So it can be very, very strange how potent these things are. And like I was just mentioning about posting up on TikTok and sending me stuff that you see and think is interesting and all that kind of stuff. Our friend Jean here, the Musical Gnome over in TikTok. If you want to go check out Musical Gnome, not only is she into the music, but she got the fungus bug here, being on Beyond Fungi, and some great videos. And she's got some really nice ones she got some better ones of reishi than I got. So I see some really cool stuff. She found some she found some shaggy manes the other day, which I was really jealous about. But yeah, Musical Gnome is out there, and an example for you guys of getting out there and finding stuff and making a video and sending it over to me. Send it over to Roscoe. We'll repost it, and we'll see if we can get a bunch of our friends to take a look at it. And it might just be regular day out at camp, but Jean's found some really cool stuff. Found some really cool stuff out there. So yeah. Oh yeah. I really I appreciate what Jean does here. The Musical Gnome, you guys. If you guys don't know the Musical Gnome, you really should, because cracks me up. I mean, that's we're looking for people like that, though, you guys. And have a community here at Beyond Fungi. So if you want to join in and be a part of a bunch of like-minded people just having fun with mycology, well, here you are. Synchronicity found your match. So anyway, have a great day, guys. We're going to go and do some more stuff and admire the wonders of nature on this super duper day. So be well, take care, find stuff, stay curious, and that's what we do here. We hang loose and be cool. So you're in the right spot. But anyway, have a great day, and we'll see you again. See you guys. Stay curious, so would you? Yep. We'll talk to you.